The first thing we are going to do is create a new machine that is going to be called Debian server Debian 64-bit type Linux, and we click next. I'm going to put 2 gigabytes of RAM to this machine. I think is a pretty much average amount because we are going to put 1 gigabyte of swap. We're going to create a new hard disk. We're going to click next, next, and I'm going to call it Debian server /disk 1, and I'm going to put it 250 gigabytes for it. We click on create, and before doing anything we go to configuration. We're going to network. I'm going to put another network adapter connected to internal network. Then after we do this switch, I'm going to delete the IDE, and after this we're going to select add a new optic disk, and I'm going to come to ISOs, and I'm going to select Debian 11. We click on selectionate. We put this on SATA 0 and this on SATA 1. So here's the first one, here's the second. That is the first hard disk. We're going to add another one, so we click on create, next, and the same amount of storage, 250 gigabytes, and we're going to call it disk 2, and we click on create. We selectionate it. Now we can start the virtual machine. I'm going to select install because I want it to be a server and not a workstation. I'm going to select Spanish, intro, Spain. The system has really some network interfacing. Select that the one we want to use for access to the internet. I'm going to select the first one, that is NAT, that can access to the internet. I'm going to call it server Fernando. We click next, and in name of domain I'm going to put, and we click next. The password will be dummy, and we click next, and we put the same password, and next. And the name of the user is going to be usuario, and we click next, and we click next, and I'm going to put the same password as the administrator, dummy. Next, and next. I'm going to select Peninsula, and I'm going to select manual partitionate. We selectionate the first hard disk. I'm going to select yes, and we have this space free. I'm gonna selectionate it, create a new partition. The size will be 1 gigabyte. Click next, logic, and select final, and use as swap. and finish. 1 GB for the swap. Now we're going to make a new partition of 30 GB for the root. Primary, the start, and I'm going to select here xt4 the root file system will be here, and finish. Now we're going to make another one for the programs that is going to occupy 50 GB. Start. I'm going to select here OPT, that are the applications that the user is going to install by its own. And we select finish. And the third one is going to occupy the rest of the disk. It's going to be /home, and we click finish. So we have / root, opt, home, and swap. And then we go to the second hard disk. We're going to select yes. We select the the second hard disk, create a new partition, 50 GB for the bar partition. We're going to put at the start. I'm going to select bar and next. After that, we're going to put a partition of 30 GB. Primary also start, and I'm going to put here TMP and finish. And now we select the free space, a new partition, 1 GB partition, continue, logic, final, and swap, and continue, and we click on end the partitionate and yes. Saying to us that if we have another system of installation, if we want it to analyze it, and we click on no. I'm going to click on Spain. I'm going to left all of this by default again. I'm going to select no. I'm going to deselect the genome intern, and we will start SSH server later, and we click to continue, and we click next. It's saying to us that the group has to be installed. It's saying to us also that we don't have another operating system on the computer, so I'm going to select yes because I want it to install, and I want it to be installed in the first disk, for example. The installation has been concluded. We click on continue, and it's rebooting the system, and we have it. We press intro. We're going to login. We put usuario and its password. We clear, and we got it. Login as root. We put the password. We're going to install sudo. We have also to add him to to add him to the group sudo. We exit from here, we go to login with usuario, and we execute this to update all the system. And to finish that, we are going to get an upgrade, and we have everything up to date. With these two commands we can update the whole system. Now we're going to edit the internal network, so we go to the folder etc network, and if we do an ls, we can see that there's a file called interfaces, and if we edit it with nano, we can access to this window where first of all we have here the first adapter, that is the NAT, that is here by default, and this is what I have put, that is the second adapter, that is called NPOS8, and I put it on a static, and I put to it this IP address and this mask. After this you have to restart the system by putting this command, and then if you do an IP, we can see that we have the first one, the second is MPOS3, that is the NAT, and MPOS8 is the internal network that we have 192 and 168.2.254, and what we have configured our network. We can see that if we ping Google, we reach to it, so we have internet. We can install P7zip by using this command, that is sudo apt install p7zip/full. We put the password, and it's going to install that compressor and this compressor for files. And now we're going to install Taxel with this command, that you can see that is in its, and we can install SSH by this command using Taxel. We can see that if we go to the cd etc and SSH, we have that folder, with its configuration. Now what we're going to do is create a new machine that is going to be called Debian Workstation, Linux and Debian 64 bits. I'm going to put 2 GB of RAM because we have 1 GB of swap, so I think that is okay. I'm going to create a new hard disk of 250 GB called Debian Workstation /disk 1, and we click on create. We go to the configuration, we go to storage. I'm going to remove the ID controller and then add a new optic disk, that is the Debian ISO. So we select it, and I'm going to order it, so Debian is the first one in SATA 0 and Debian in 1. Once we have done that, we go to network. We are going to add a new adapter that is going to be in internal network. Now that we have these two configured, we click on accept. We start the machine. We click on cancel because there's already an ISO. I'm going to install it by using the graphical install. So I select the first one. I'm going to select Spanish, Spain, Spanish. The name of the server is going to be workstation/Fernando and SMRHSP. We're going to put the password that's going to be dummy. We'll click on continue. The user is going to be called usuario. Continue, continue, and the same password for the user. In the peninsula, I'm going to select manual configuration for the disks. I'm going to select the hard disk. I'm going to select yes, next, and the free space. I'm going to create a new partition, gigabytes, primary, and the start for the root. I'm going to select it. We have finished the partition. We click on continue. We select again the free space, create a new partition, 50 gigabytes again, continue, logic, pin start, /home, we don't want /home, we want op it. We click on continue and we have finished. Then again on the free space, I'm going to create a new partition, this time of 30 gigabytes. The variable, the slash bar, we select it and we have finished. And then we're going to create another partition of 1 gigabyte. It's going to be at the final, and it's going to be the type swap. We have finished, and the rest of the disk is going to be for the /home, and we finish. And then we click on continue. Click on continue and end the partitionate and write the changes in the disk. Continue, yes, continue. By now, Spain again. All of this by default, continue, continue. I'm going to leave this by default, continue. I'm going to leave all of this by default. I'm going to start Genome and we click on continue. Now it's saying to us that we have to install the group booter. I'm going to select yes. I'm going to select the hard disk. The installation has concluded, sorry. And we click on continue, has ended, and it's restarting the machine. We select the first one, intro, the password, and we have our operative system completely working. Now we're going to configure the internal network. We go to configuration, network, we select the second one, that is the internal network. We go to IPv4. I'm going to put this IP address and this mask. I'm going to apply the changes and disable IPv6, and I'm also going to disable IPv6 in the first one adapter, that is the NAT. And now if we go to the terminal and make an IPA, we can see that we have that IP address, and that if we and it's reaching Google, so we have internet. Now we go to the folder documents. I'm going to create this file that is cook recipes, and I put some potatoes, after that we have to install the databook backups, so we install it, we execute it, and we are going to create our first backup of the home directory, and we click on OK, and I'm going to save it on, for example, downloads, no, for example, videos, accept, and OK. And I'm going to protect it by using a password. And it has been copied and backup, and we could restore it by clicking on the page restore and restoring all of these files. But if we go to the documents, we can see that we have that document txt. We go to the Debian page, to the SSH open SSH server, to the download. We go down and we should find here all the all URLs to access to that file. So we're going to download it. And then go to files, downloads, right click, open with another application and install software, and we click on install. We're going to put our password. See that we have to have all of the dependencies installed. Once we have installed it, we have it. Also, I haven't mentioned it yet, but we should add the usuario to the group sudo to do all of the SSH part. Now what we are going to do is connect to the server that I have open here. So we are going to make a sudo SSH user usuario arroba and its IP address, that is this one. We say yes, we put the password, and we are logging as server Fernando. We can do that by making an ls because we don't have anything in our own home directory. That's all.